Hey guys, what is up? This is Man with the Commentary on Black Ops 2, and today I have a 17-2 with the M8A1 on cargo, and this is a league play game that we won in 6 rounds, so we didn't lose a round, and this is probably one of the fastest, most kill pack. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going for here, but there's a lot of kills in a very short amount of time, and I think you guys will enjoy it. But today I want to talk about how we can make SnD better in the future, and I'm not speaking we as in me or you. I'm talking about developers and what they can do in the future to make the game play better for, you know, just specific game modes, and more specifically search and destroy, because that's what we're here for. So the first idea I'm kind of using here is from one of Deathly's videos this week. It was from one of his 100 pluses, where he talks about restricting certain things in certain game modes, and this is easily relatable to Modern Warfare 3, like why this would be a good idea. Sitrep in Modern Warfare 3 for SnD was quite a big problem. We all know it. It just led to people crouch walking around the entire map. The game slowed down, and that was the best thing about SnD in that game. It was very fast. So we lost that really fun aspect to it. So I do not think the developers had that in mind. They didn't think that they wanted to make SnD play this way. I think they wanted to make Domination play a little bit differently and balance that perk in a game mode like that. That was quite a bit more popular, and you know, it just didn't make sense to not have that perk be used in that game mode. But they didn't have it implemented at the time where they could, you know, restrict certain things in certain game modes where people would play. And I think it's something they could do in the future, but I just don't think they'll do it. And I don't think they'll do it for a couple of reasons. One, it would take quite a bit of pre-release research to determine what works well in certain game modes and what doesn't. Actually, quite a bit of research and like just trial and error to figure out what works and what doesn't, because speculation is good, but it's not all telling. So they need to actually go out and figure out what does actually work and what doesn't. And I just don't see them doing that. So that's why that won't work. But it would be great, because, you know, riot shields are just usually not used that conducively in SnD, whereas they could be if they, well, not they could be, but they wouldn't be used at all because they can restrict that, just not allow it. Same thing with Sitrep, take that out, and you got a pretty improved game mode already. But I think another thing you could do is revert to skill-based matchmaking. And this is something that people shudder at in the YouTube community, because they do not want to play people that are similar in skill to them. You know, YouTube people usually are better than the rest of the populace, so they don't want to play against people that are just as good as them. And I think a good way to do this is on a very all-telling statistic of the game mode. And I think for most game modes, Treyarch has got it right. Like, score per minute is a pretty all-telling statistic in terms of skill, not skill in a sense, to a certain extent, but shows how people like to play the game, especially. So let's think of my score per minute compared to some other people's. I have a 140 SPM in search, quite a bit above average. I'd say average is between 90 and 100. The average trick shotter, between 20 and 70, I would say. As for the average troll, I would say between 20 and 70. So by that restriction, or skill-based matchmaking scheme, we shouldn't run into those types of players. And if they want to do it, by all means, they'll stay at a low score per minute. They won't be running into people that are trying to play the game properly. Problem solved. It's just a scary thing to think about when people like YouTubers come into play. They would just flip out, especially respawn ones, because people do a little bit less trolling in respawn. In addition, this is a very small point, what we could do, or what developers could do, is incentivize winning a bit more, but that doesn't do everything. Like, I think people that want to rank up will like to win, you know, so it'll incentivize in some way to do that a bit more. So I think one way to do is just to give a lot more XP to the people that win than lose, but then, you know, you have the whole issue of people like trolling, so I think that doesn't really work unless you have skill-based matchmaking anyway. But yeah, I think it's very viable anyway to do skill-based matchmaking. That's the big thing I want to push for you guys to try to think about, and that's what I want your thoughts on after this video. Actually, in the comments, let me know what you think about skill-based matchmaking and the whole scheme I've kind of proposed in this, because I think it's pretty controversial, but I also think it could work really, really well. So that wraps up this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you all next time.